so I'm going to show you how to use area of two-dimensional shapes to set up an algebra problem and then to solve the algebra problem and then kind of plug in the answers you find out what the actual answer is. In this scenario, I have a square because I have four sides that are congruent and all these angles are going to be 90 degrees. So we know all these sides are x's, so I know this is also going to be an x length, this is x length, and this is x length. Then I have a triangle over here, and all I know is I have a height of x, but I don't know this length here, but I do know this is x. So it stands to reason that this length is going to be 8 minus x using segment addition postulate. All right, so that's the whole minus the part taken out, and that's what's left right there. So let's take a look at this. That's just basic geometry from what we've known. And let's figure out what x is. Because there's a lot of x's there. If we know what that is, and that's really what this question is asking anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a thing called slice and sum. I'm going to cut this figure into two figures. The reason why is I know for this square right here, my area is going to be x squared. I'm going to need to add my triangle, which the formula for a triangle, well, let me draw the triangle. We know this is x, and this is 8 minus x. I know the formula, here's my plus, for the area of a triangle is 1/2 of my base times my height, which is x. All right, and it tells us that that's going to equal 10 inches squared. I'm not too worried about units and everything else. In fact, I forgot to put inches there. So it's really more of let's set it up and solve. I'm not going to try to trick you with different units. From here, we just need to solve for x. I've got x squared plus, well, let's see, 1/2 of 8, and x is going to give me 4x, and 1/2 of an x times an x is going to give me a negative 1/2 x squared equals 10. Okay, let's combine like terms. Well, if I have 1 here and I take away 1/2 of it, I have 1/2 of an x squared plus 4x equals 10. Okay, I don't like this fraction here. I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 2 to scale the equation to get rid of the fraction, and that gives me x squared plus 8x equals 20. I multiply the entire thing by this denominator, and it gets rid of the fraction. All right, let's solve. I'm going to bring this 20 over, and I've got x squared plus 8x minus 20 equals 0. Let's just rewrite that up here. I have x squared plus 8x minus 20 equals 0. If you remember from Algebra 1 on how to solve a quadratic, you could use a quadratic formula, which I'm not going to use here, or you can factor it and then use zero product property, and that's what I'm going to do. If you just look here, I want to ask myself what factors of negative 20 are going to add up to be a positive 8. Well, that's going to give me x plus 10 and x minus 2 equals 0, because positive 10 times a negative 2 gives me negative 20, and 10 minus 2 gives me a positive 8. Now I set each of these set equal to 0, the zero product property. X plus 10 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. From here we solve for x. X equals negative 10, and x equals 2. And a lot of people like to stop here, but I really caution you not to stop and actually go back and look and see what does x actually represent. In this case, x represents a distance. A distance cannot be negative, so this is not a solution, even though mathematically it works out. I could put negative 10 in here and get 10 back. That's going to happen. But that's not a solution in terms of the problem. The problem is a distance. So x in this case can only equal 2. That's it. It can't be negative 10 because I can't have a negative distance. Hi, I'm Mr. Buzzard, and these videos are supplemental instruction for my students. If you found the video enjoyable, make sure you click the like button and click subscribe, as well as the bell for notifications to receive future videos on high school mathematics.